In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how we made 6 beautiful aquascapes for the Nano plants booth at Interzoo 2024. So earlier this year, me, Andy and Charlotte were invited to Nano Plants to scape their tanks for Interzoo. If you've never heard of Interzoo before, it is basically the largest pet trade show in the world. The last edition of Interzoo was 2 years ago, and at that time the display tanks on the Nano Plants booth were looking amazing. So the pressure for this year is definitely on. Okay, so we have 3 big tanks. These are 90 centimeters from left to right, 45 centimeters front to back, and I think 45 centimeters tall as well. And then next to that we have 3 nano tanks. We need to put lights on these ones. First up, I'm making a Dutch style layout in one of the big tanks. After that, I'm doing sort of a jungle forest layout together with Andy. And lastly, me and Charlotte will scape a nano cube together. Okay, we're in full swing. Charlotte is gluing her hardscape. And Andy is also working hard on his hardscape. Looking good, man. Okay, I'm gonna get started with my Dutch style tank. I made a little plan beforehand, which I will overlay on screen right now. So I think we have about 90 pots of plants that will go in here. So we have a lot of plants prepared, but first let's add in the substrate. Okay, I've just added in the first 9-liter bag. Right now I'm going to add in some root caps. I mean, it's a Dutch style tank, we have a lot of plants, so we need a lot of nutrients as well. After the substrate was done, I made a planting map with the labels. By doing this, I know exactly where each plant is going to be, and I can speed up the planting process. Okay, so we've prepared the first batch of plants. We have about 10 different varieties here, so we still have at least 10 more to go. I'm just going to start planting and see where we go. I'm not going to bore you guys with all of the planting footage, so here's how it looked directly after filling it up and installing the filter. In the meantime, Andy had finished the hardscape for his tank, and I think it looks amazing already. But just wait until you see this one planted. Next up, let's start on the third big tank. This one is quite challenging because we have to use these so-called Mbuna trees, which are basically just big pieces of driftwood with anubias attached to them. Yeah, I've never made an aquascape with this before, so it's going to be interesting. So for this one, we started with a couple of massive black lava rocks. Then we attached the Mbuna trees on top of that. And we used a couple of driftwood pieces on the lower section to resemble roots. After that, we finished the layout with more anubias, some crypts, and a mixed carpet with marcellea and dwarf hairgrass. Now, I didn't get a lot of footage from the nanocube that I did with Charlotte, but we basically made a very simple hardscape and planted it with a variety of red plants and small bush of veranda. Fast forward a few weeks later, and the tanks are starting to look really good, but we do have a few issues. Some tanks are still suffering from some diatom algae, and in other tanks a couple plants melted as well. But we still have a few weeks until Interzoo, so with regular maintenance and some replanting, those issues will be completely fixed. Okay guys, fast forward again. It is now the beginning of May, so let's say roughly 3 months since we built these aquariums. And this is the moment that we've all been kind of working towards, to have beautiful display tanks on the booth of Nano Plants. So the layout of the booth is very similar to 2 years ago. We have 3 massive display tanks in the front. We have 2 nanos on the bar, 1 nano in the middle, and then we've added 2 more 90 centimeter tanks as a kind of like a product display, which I'll show you later. So let's kind of see how the tanks have evolved in those 3 months. Starting with the tank that I did together with Andy. I think this one is looking really nice. It's a bit different as well. And I think it worked out how we added in those Mbuna trees. So in this tank we actually have 2 new plants. The one that's very obvious is the orange crypt. It's the Cryptoquina Avenus Dark Orange. Really like that one, because there's not that many orangey ready crypts. So pretty cool, this one. And then in the background we have another new plant. This is the Pogostemon quadrifolius. It's not a very new plant. I think We used to have it in the assortment earlier, but we just kind of just brought it back. So yeah, I really like how this aquarium has evolved. We also added some a light ground to the background, so it just kind of complements the layout, you know. So let's move on to the next one. My Dutch style. Now, if you look back to how I planted this one, you can see that the people that have been maintaining this one have made a few changes. In here, I had a big patch of the Alternatera, the red Alternatera. Unfortunately, we added a Nano shrimp, and we all know a Nano shrimp like Alternatera. So, unfortunately, that one is no longer here. Also, the Aponogeton that we had on the right side has been removed. I'm actually not sure why, but I think it looks better without it. In this tank, we also have some new plants. The most obvious one is the Bacopa Sauce Money Purple. Really cool plant. Just a very slow growing, but easy to, it's a very easy reddish purplish plant. So really cool that one has been added to the assortment. And the second new plant is it's not new, but it's new in the assortment, the Rotala rotunifolia. So yeah, I think after 3 months, this one has grown in really, really nicely. Then moving on to tank number 3, the one from Andy. In this one we have had some algae issues. We tried to clean up as much as possible, but you can see that the carpet is not looking as vibrant as we would like. But so far, I think it still looks very good. New plants in this tank is the Rotala Blood Red. I think this is a plant that's becoming very popular lately. So we decided to add it to the dental plants assortment as well as a tissue culture cup. I can actually show you right now. Here we have it in the fridge. Beautiful Rotala Blood Red. At the moment it's still a special, but it will get its own label. So those were the 3 big tanks in front of the booth. Let's move over to the bar. First up, we have the tank that I did together with Charlotte with mostly red plants. And this one has grown in really well. It's a proper jungle, wild layout. In the foreground, we have the mixed carpet with Halantium Tantalum Red and Hygrophila araguaia. It's a combination that I never did before, but I think it looks really good. And then, in the background, we just have a mix of stems. We have mermaid weed, we have Ludwigia Super Red. On the wood, we have Hygrophila pinnatifida. And I think the hardscape is barely visible, but it's still a bit of an island composition. As you can see, the plants are pearling like crazy at the moment, but we're not using CO2 in these tanks. So the reason that the plants are pearling is because we've been adding some sparkling water. It's kind of triggering all these air bubbles, which I think looks really good. Then the other one on the bar is the one from Charlotte, the betta tank. We don't have a betta in there, but we just don't think it's good for the fish to have a fish on an exhibition like this, because it is quite stressful for them. So there's no fish in the tanks. But yeah, this is Charlotte's tank. It's looking really good. I love the mixed carpet with dwarf hairgrass and Kurt parva. It's also a nice combination. In here we have the Bacopa Salzmani Purple, and I think that's the only new plant in here. So this is a tank that we've just set up a few days ago, just to showcase some new plants. So in here you can see the Crypt Affinis Dark Orange, you can see the Bacopa Salzmani Purple, the Rotunifolia, which is just green at the moment. So yeah, just a really cool plant display. This is something that you could see in the shop, you know. Then over here we have another display that you could see in a shop. So these are the Deco products from Dental Plants. So we have cocoa caves with moss, cocoa caves with pinnatifida. We have sort of like wood pieces with different types of Anubias attached to them. Anubias pangolino, Anubias kirin. We have Bolbitis on wood, Java ferns on wood. And I mean, it's not something that you would use for aquascaping, I think, but if you have a shrimp tank or if you just want a simple layout that's easy to make, then I think these Deco products are perfect, you know. Then the last thing, the Nano from Andy, we placed it on this plant display, and I was a little bit worried about the weight because it's a very heavy tank. There's a massive piece of elderly or Frodo stone in there, so it is quite heavy, but it's been here for 3 days now. It seems to be holding up just fine. So this one has grown in really nicely as well. We did have some issues with the foreground. Initially we had a carpet with Hemianthus cuba as well, but during transport some of the aquasol rolled forward and kind of covered it, so we kind of taken it out and replaced it with some ADA La Plata sand. So I showed you all the new plants from Nano plants, but there's one more new thing actually, and this is the new pads. So we already used to have different types of pads with hairgrass, I think with Monte Carlo and with Liliopsis, but they were all on mesh. So now they came up with a new pad that is 100% sustainable, and you can just add this pad to your aquarium as well and kind of just cover it with some Aquasol. So if you want an instant carpet, then maybe these new pads are just something to think about. It's quite a big one, but you could of course split it up and turn it into smaller portions. But it's still quite a new product, so I'm curious to see how they're gonna keep on developing this one. Right, guys, those are all the display things on the Nano booth. I have to get back to work, but as always, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.